Alrighty, seems like everybody is in from the waiting room, so we will go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to September's benefit mod. Today's topic is veterans benefits. Um, the sorry, just a couple of things to start with. This will be recorded and posted to the Charting the Life course YouTube. It will also be sent out in a follow-up email afterwards. You will also get a PDF of the slide decks. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to go ahead and put them in the chat and we will answer them at the end. My name is Angelina Alpert. I am a senior program area specialist at University of Missouri, Kansas City Institute for Human Development. And a little bit about the Open Door series, if you're new to it. It is sponsored by Medicare Improvements for Patients and Providers Act, also known as MIPA, priorities 1, 2, and 3. Priority 1 is Missouri SHIP, our state health insurance assistance program. Priority 2 is Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services on behalf of the area agencies on aging. And then priority 3 is Institute for Human Development, which is the No Wrong Door designee for the state of Missouri. A little bit about No Wrong Door. It aims to transform the way people access services in the community. So it supports individuals and caregivers to make decisions on complete and accurate information about their options for anyone seeking long-term services and supports, regardless of their age, income, or disability. I've mentioned on the past couple of calls, Missouri did just get another round of No Wrong Door funding, so we're super excited about that. Department of Health and Senior Services is kind of taking the lead on that, and we are continuing to work collaboratively across the state with all of the systems to hopefully make those systems easier for people to navigate. So the goal of these Open Door series is to kind of learn about integrated supports. So we want people to use different types of services and supports rather than just relying on one type and integrate them throughout their life so that they're able to fully participate in their family and the community of their choosing. So what you'll see here is the integrated support star from Charting the Life course. So these are the 5 different types of services and supports. Personal strengths and assets are the skills, strengths, and belongings that an individual has. Relationships can be family, friends, or acquaintances. Technology is going to be all kinds of technology, your everyday technology, your adaptive technology, environmental technology, and we do have a mod on technology as well. Your community-based supports are going to be places in the community that anybody would have access to. So your businesses, parks, stores, groups, or membership organizations. And then lastly, we have our eligibility specific, which are needs-based services that are going to have some form of eligibility requirement, whether it's age, geography, income level, if it has a specific disability or diagnosis. And that is what we talk about during the benefit series. I'll toss this up quickly and then also put these links in at the end. You also will get these links in that follow-up email that I mentioned. But our benefit series is the second Wednesday of every month from 12:30 to 1:30. Our next one is going to be October 8th on new for 2026 open enrollment for Medicare. And then our technology series is the fourth Wednesday of every month from 12:30 to 1:30. And the next one's going to be September 24th on how to switch adapt. And then with that, I will go ahead and pass it over to Michael Smith.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Smith, and I'm the Outreach and Resource Coordinator with the Missouri Veterans Commission. I had just recently gotten to this role about 3 months ago. Before that, I was a veteran service officer who served mostly central Missouri and a portion of St. Louis region. So that's where my background is on the veteran benefits. Next slide, please. So, what is the Missouri Veterans Commission? Well, what we are is we have three primary programs. We have the Veteran Service Program, we have the Veterans Homes Program, we have the Veteran Cemeteries Program, and we actually do have a new program called the Veteran Suicide Awareness Program. What do? We do is we help veterans and their families apply for compensation benefits, a pension benefit, some education and training, such as voc rehab and employment. We help you guys file for VA healthcare eligibility. We help you with home loan guarantees, which that's mainly filling out a special form that gets sent to the VA, and they take care of the loan process and all of that. We also help you with life insurance, burial benefits, and long term skilled nursing care. Next slide. So, what is our mission? Well, we are on a mission to serve veterans as the first choice in skilled nursing care, the best choice in securing benefits, and a proven choice in a dignified resting place. Our vision is to provide a high quality, compassionate care for veterans, seamlessly integrated with the veteran community, emphasizing a culture of transparency and excellence. What this really means is we want veterans to know that we would do our best for them every single day, that we do care about their service, and we want to provide, whether that's a home for them to go into where they can feel comfortable and cared for, or where if it's final resting place where they can go for burial and all of that. That's what that really means. Some of our values are integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all that we do. Next slide. So let's talk about the Veteran Service Program. That's one of our biggest programs with the Commission. We, at this time, have approximately 50 VSOs that can help you file for benefits. They are scattered throughout the entire state and they are separated by regions. But what does the VSO do? Well, they help provide benefit information for you. So if you have questions about benefits, they can answer those questions. As I said before, I was a VSO for 8 years, so I do know quite a bit about what they do. They also help provide claim assistance. Now, everything the VSO do does not cost. We do not charge anybody for our services. It's free. We help you prepare forms. By we helping you prepare forms, what I mean is we actually do the forms for you. We have you look over them for grammatical errors or just make sure everything is right, because the worst thing you can do is send a form into the VA with wrong information, such as a wrong social security number, wrong date of birth, things like that. That's why we want to make sure that all that information is correct. So once we turn it into the VA, it makes their job a lot easier to make decisions, and it makes our job a lot easier in making sure we don't have to correct the mistakes. We do help with submitting applications. We do answer VA letters. Now, when it comes to VA letters, what I will say is, as a VSO, we do not directly get those letters. What will happen is the VA will send the veteran or their family a letter in the mail. The veteran will then have to look at that letter and then call us if they do not understand what is happening, or if they don't understand what it's saying. The VSO can, by listening to what the veteran is saying, is determine what is actually needed to go on. Like whether it's hey, we need this more information from you, we will know pretty much what that information may be. We want to make sure that all the benefits that the veteran or their family has earned is applied for and has been secured through the VA. We want to assist in helping the veteran enroll into the VA healthcare system because veterans do deserve the healthcare they earned. We want to make sure that we assist the spouse and the dependent children of any deceased veteran to determine their benefits eligibility if applicable. We also want to assist in locating proof of service, military medical records, birth and death records, and other documentation needed to file a claim. How we do that is we will ask certain information and we will turn that into the VA, usually the National Personnel Record Center out of St. Louis, or in some cases, the National Guard out of Jefferson City to get that information so that we can proceed with a claim. The Department of Veteran Affairs is broken down into three categories. Now, what you're going to see is very similar to what the MVC, the Missouri Veterans Commission, has. The Veterans Health Administration, the National Cemetery Administration, and the Veterans Benefits Administration. So the difference in that is our health administration is more of our homes. The cemetery, we do have veterans homes in Missouri, and we also have the service officers or the Veteran Benefits Administration that we have. Now, on this slide, it shows that the VHA operates about 1,321 healthcare facilities that include 172 medical centers and 1,138 community-based outpatient clinics. The outpatient clinics are known as CBOCs. The medical centers are the VA medical centers, such as Harry S. Truman in Columbia or Jefferson Barracks in St. Louis. The National Cemetery Administration for the VA, they have 4.11 million grave sites at 155 national cemeteries. Now, there is only one national cemetery right now that is open for burial in St. Louis, and that is Jefferson Barracks. And then the Veterans Benefits Administration, they are the same people that we send claims into for the veteran and their families to get benefits. So there's a variety of people that work there, and we kind of work with them in pursuing those benefits. So Missouri Veterans Homes, we have 7 of them in our state, broken down by homes or by how many beds we have in each one. We have Cameron Veterans Home with 200 beds, Cape Girardeau with 150, Mexico with 150, Mount Vernon with 200, St. James with 150, St. Louis with 188, and Warrensburg with 200 beds. These homes provide 24/7 skilled nursing care by registered nurses. We have physicians and specialized care services, along with well-rounded activities for an enjoyable living environment. For admission into these homes, you've had to live in Missouri for at least 180 days before applying for your application to the home. You must meet the criteria for veteran status as established by the VA. So, not every person who serves may be a veteran. There are certain laws and regulations that the national government has to determine what a veteran is. And the veteran must require skilled nursing services. Another admission requirement that I know that's not on this particular slide is that the veteran cannot be on any registered sex offender registry, or they cannot have a class A or B felony in the state of Missouri. I do know that's some new stuff that we have on there. Next slide, please. So these pictures are locations of where all our homes are, and I've been to pretty much all of them in my new position. Very well ran, ran the same way in most cases, and food's great. I've been there, had some of their food too. So the veteran is getting great food. For example, they're getting tremendous health care, and they're actually pretty happy with what they're getting. I do know some locations offer different things for veterans, such as Mexico will take their veterans to the state cemetery out Jacksonville, and they'll have a little fishing skirmish where they'll take the fish that they caught and go back and have a fish fry. St. Louis generally will take their veterans to a ball game, and so they enjoy that. And some of the other ones, they do have other fun things to do outside of the veterans home for the veterans as well. Next slide. So we have 3 levels of care at the homes, and basically what that is it's assessed on their care needs and physical ability levels, and they are placed in the appropriate unit to meet their needs. We do have a specialized Alzheimer's dementia unit at each home as well. So what's some of the financial benefits to living in one of our homes? The homes receive funding from residents and the Department of Veteran Affairs. Now, one thing to remember about Missouri Veterans Commission, we are a state agency, not federal. We are not part of the VA system. So these are not VA homes, but the Department of VA does help fund some of our houses or our homes. The cost for rent right now is $2,697 per month. and that goes up every year by whatever the cost of living is at the time. But it does cover quite a bit. I mean, it covers room and board, routine physician services, medications, a barber or beautician, laundry services, cable and internet services, and transportation to VA appointments for those veterans who can still move around pretty good. Uh, we will we have a vehicle we can pick them up in and take them to that appointment. Next slide. Thank you. Uh, Referrals and admissions to our homes. So one thing I would recommend is call the home directly, whichever one you choose to want to go to, and request an application. I will say that our VSOs throughout the state do have uh, applications in their office too that they can help assist with that. The completed application will include a copy of the veteran's discharge or the DD 214, the completed health assessment, the proof of residency, which is generally like showing an address that you had lived at previously before enrolling into the home, or a bill that shows current address. Uh, the signed application by the veteran or the durable power of attorney, and they will receive a letter confirming they're on the list because we do have a list for each home. It varies depending on how many rooms there are and how many people have already applied before. I know some homes you can get into sooner than others. The more popular ones, you may be on the list a little bit longer. Now, how that will work is I always tell the veterans or their significant others that I would apply for more than one home. And then in the process, what will happen is that home, that second choice, third choice, whatever, we'll call them, ask them if they want to go to that home. My suggestion is to say yes, so that way they are placed into the home immediately. Uh, that does not take away their first choice. It will take away all their other choices, but the first one. The first one, once that opening comes available, they will call again and ask that veteran and family member if they want to go to that home. And if they truly still want to go to that home, that's when you want to say yes, and that will proceed with that. If you say no, not at this time, you could either go possibly to the very bottom of the list or be removed from the list in general. Just depends on how many people are on the list and all of that. Uh, the veterans must meet criteria for skilled nursing care to be admitted. Uh, that just means that the doctor has to say they need that level of care. So if they're not needing constant care, medication given to them, uh, changing of clothes, stuff like that, uh, then they're not going to be admitted to the home because the doctor will say they don't need it. One thing about our homes is if a veteran has a compensation rating percentage of 70% or more, then they will not pay for their home. That is automatically covered by the federal government, that they pay for that. If the veteran is below the 70%, that's where you see that $2,697 in the previous slide. That's where that comes in. So that's why that's there. Next slide, please. Now we have our veteran cemeteries. We have 6 cemeteries across the state right now. We have Bloomfield, Fort Leonard Wood, Higginsville, Jacksonville, Springfield, and St. James, which as of right now is close to new interments. So I usually just say the first five I mentioned. Uh, that should be what it really should be. Services provided at no cost to veterans, spouses, or their eligible dependent children include the grave space, the opening and closing of the grave liner, the headstone, perpetual care, and full military honors. So any of this stuff will not show up in any bill or anything like that for the family. The only thing that will be billed is what happens at the funeral home, the preparation of the body or for cremation. That is a separate thing. The VA will not cover that. I say that. However, there is a burial benefit, which is one of the things that you can file for, and they will reimburse some of that cost uh, through that end. And how you would do that is if you would provide a death certificate, a DD 214, or a discharge, and a itemized funeral bill, because that is what they will look at in order to pay that amount. Now, that amount will be anywhere between $300 to $2,000 in most cases. Eligibility. Honorable discharge from active duty is one of the ways to be eligible for it. They have completed the required period of service. Reserves and National Guard members can also qualify if they are eligible for retire pay as a result of 20 years of credible service. There's also a way that if a National Guard member was called up to the active duty, such as the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, after they complete that tour of duty, if it's a year, 2 years, whatever it may be, they would be eligible for burial at the Veterans Cemetery because of that. Next slide, please. These are some pictures of our veterans' homes. You got Bloomfield on the top left there. You have Jacksonville, which is the far bottom right. And then you have a few of the other ones throughout the state. Those are our cemeteries and how they look like. I encourage anybody that if they want to go look at a particular state of Missouri cemeteries to go to whichever one they're interested in and look at it. So because they're all very nicely ran, you will see the lawns immaculately taken care of. These guys put in a lot of hard work to make sure that this is a dignified place, as I had spoken earlier. Next slide, please. This is a location where all our cemeteries are throughout the map. So that's just what that slide is. Next slide.
Michael, that was the last slide that I had.
Okay, well then I'll go into a little bit more of the other stuff because I thought I sent you the other one. So going back to the cemeteries program, or not cemetery, the VSO program, we actually do have, and I'll have to send you another slide. It does have a information about the suicide prevention program, and what that is. That was very newly created, July of this year. We actually created this new part to our commission, and what it is, it's we've been looking at the numbers and evidence of those who have taken their own lives due to suicide, and we want to know the reasons as to why, and we're trying to combat that by giving out material information and trying to get them the medical help they need so that way they do not become one of the 22 a day veterans. That's our biggest hiccup right now, is to get that to be shrunk down. So that is one of our newer programs. The VSP program, or the Veteran Service Officers, I will say, as I said, we have 50 of them. We do have, they're all very qualified. They know what they're doing. I've trained actually quite a few of them myself. And the other thing is we do have a portal, which I want to show, or I want to send you all to. It's called veteranbenefits.mo.gov. The reason why I will bring this portal up is because it has information for all kinds of different categories, from education all the way to women veterans and anything in between that you could think of. What it does is it allows a person to go into that portal, check the box that they're interested in, and it will have a bunch of different organizations that are willing to help veterans out, whether it's through education stuff, which would be the schools, or if you have financial issues. We have organizations out there throughout the state and nationwide that can help a veteran if they need to pay a light bill or a mortgage or a car loan or something like that. We do have that stuff out there. I will send you all that so you guys have that. Um, and lastly, for that, that's pretty much of my slide. I will open the floor up to questions right now. That's fine.
If anybody has questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat. You can also use the little raise hand react button, and I can go ahead and unmute you if you would rather verbally ask it.
Yes, there is a wait list for entering into one of the homes. Each list is different, but depending on the home. Uh, I would say that if there's a veteran that really wants to go into the home, I would actually do the application like right now, and apply for all of the homes, like I said. What is the contact? Okay. Try and read up on all these as it goes. What is the contact information website? Uh, the the contact information website that I was referring to is basically veteranbenefits.mo.gov. That will give you information for different kinds of categories. It also, at the very top, you can actually find your veteran service officer for your county in that same portal. Will the home conduct tours? Yes, they will. You want to call them and ask for a tour of the home, and each one of them will be glad to do that for you. All right. Spouse benefits. So there are technically two spouse benefits once the veteran has passed away. The main one that I see is what we call the pension benefit or the survivor's pension benefit. Now there are criteria to that. The first one would be that the veteran had to have served on active duty before 1980 for 90 days. After 1980, that went up to 2 years. That's the first criteria. The second criteria is that your net worth, which would not count your home because you haven't sold it, or vehicles or anything like that, cannot be above, I believe right now it's 157,200 some dollars. I know it's over 155 for sure. That will go up every year based off cost of living as well. It's one of the benefits that do. Um, the third criteria depends on uh, how much money you make per month and what your medical expenses are. And by medical, I mean what they call regular, reoccurring medical conditions, such as going into a nursing home or assisted living facility. They will count that as an expense. Your Part B expenses, they count that. If you have any other medical expenses that you pay out monthly, they will count that as well. My suggestion is to get into more detail than that is I would contact your local VSO. Uh, and as I said, that you can find that on the veteranbenefits.mo.gov. There's a find your service officer on there, and they could tell you exactly everything they need in order to apply for the pension benefit. The other benefit is a DIC, a dependent indemnity compensation. That is where you have a veteran who is service connected at 100%, passes away. Then the spouse can apply for that type of benefit, the DIC, and that is to a certain amount of money, depending on if you don't need care or if you do. And you don't have to show as much on that because it doesn't matter about income and all that through that program. But the one kicker is the veteran had to be 100% before passing away in order for the spouse to apply for that. Will information material be available on the portal? Yes. I will actually send out a different slide that actually has the portal information on it. I don't know why you didn't get that one, but I'll get to the bottom of that myself. What is the eligible length of service to qualify for burial service? Uh, so burial service basically uh, for before 1980, they had to have had. It's kind of like the pension. They had to have had like 90 days of active duty, uh, or 2 years after 1980. But there is one thing in there that is if they had died in combat or in war, that's automatic eligibility for burial service anyway. So that's a slightly different thing than pension. Can you talk more about the home loans? So the home loans, basically, what the VA is going to do is they're going to ask to verify that you indeed are a veteran, or that your husband, spouse, whatever, was a veteran. And to do that, you have to show a DD 214 or a discharge. And what we do is we take that information, we fill out a one-page form that requests personal information, and we send that discharge in with that to the VA. And the VA is going to come back and basically say, okay, and then what they're going to ask you to do is they're going to ask you to go to a local bank, because Missouri Veterans Commission is not a bank. And they will have you do the actual home loan through the bank of your choice. I would almost just to kind of cut the middleman out there, I would go to the bank, provide a DD 214, tell them that you want to go to get a home loan, like I did when I was doing this, and they can get all that process done pretty quickly, because it's just verifying that you're a veteran, or your spouse was a veteran, and then you get to the home loan thing, and you get to choose what type you want. There are a couple of different types. I don't remember all of them top of my head. Do you have information regarding homeless veterans and how to reach out to them or where to refer them for assistance? Directly, no, I don't have much information about homeless veterans. I do know that we have agencies out there that support the homeless veteran population. And if there is a homeless veteran that you know to be sure to be a veteran, they can go to any veteran service officer to get help, such as enrollment in VA healthcare, or they could even go to the VA hospitals themselves to enroll to get the VA healthcare right there on the spot. Um, and then any other benefits that they have earned, the VSO can help them apply for and get that to them. One thing about homeless veterans is they more likely will qualify for the pension benefit as long as they're wartime era. By wartime era, I mean served during a time period of war, not necessarily was involved in a war, but served during a time period. That would allow them to get pension, which would get them somewhat on their feet and into some kind of suitable housing. Uh, so you assist with helping veterans find about programs where they can receive attendant care in their home, like Veteran Direct Care. We help veterans with any kind of benefits. When you're talking about attendant care in the home, there is a program called the Comprehensive Program Assistance Program that the VA themselves offers. There is a application for that. It's very simple application. It's a 3-page paper. It's basically they ask for the veteran's information first. This is all personal information. Then they ask for who their primary caregiver is, and then they ask for a secondary caregiver, because the primary caregiver gets paid to take care of the veteran. So it could be a spouse, it could be a child, it could be anybody that wants to take care of that veteran in their own home that can get paid for those services through the VA. Uh, that paperwork gets sent to the local VA medical center, and then what they will do is they will make the determination on whether they qualify or not. Uh, if they don't qualify, there's got to be some reason, and you can actually appeal that through the process. And but I would actually look at what the reasons were if it was me looking at it, just so that I can better assist with that information. But that's usually what our VSOs do now. Uh, is your organization involved in the Wounded Warrior program? We are not directly involved with Wounded Warrior. We do know about them, and we do encourage people to seek their assistance out. Um, we don't, so anything that's on our portal, it is not for profit. That's what's on our portal directly. It's not for profit agencies. But that doesn't take away from any other place that's out there. We just don't like to broadcast for people who might benefit monetarily off of veterans for assistance. We want to keep away from that as a state agency. But we are familiar with the other programs out there, and we look to assist veterans with getting them whatever they need as much as possible. Why is it so hard to join the Veterans Network? I'm not quite sure what the Veterans Network is, so I can't really answer that question. Uh, I wish I could, but I haven't heard that program. So if you have more information about what that is, I see that you're on it for 3 years, but I have nothing knowledge about that.
Um, Latanga, I just went ahead and gave you the ability to unmute if you wanted to explain a bit more what that network is, see if Michael can help you out a little bit more with that. Okay, while we're waiting, oh,
Coming.
there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Yes.
Okay. So, I might not say the initials right, but I think it's AAVCN. So I'm an agency in St. Louis, Missouri that provides care for veterans. And they have a program that they allow so many hours during the week. But once the agency applies for these services, we're on the waiting list for like, I've been on there for 3 years. I was told that the waiting list is because the veterans, they're not sure if they will be able to offer us enough veterans, but there's a lot of veterans in Missouri that can use this service and need the help. So I'm not understanding. It's through Optum. Am I ringing a bell now?
So Optum, when I hear the word Optum, I look at that as what we usually call the CMP provider or compensation and pension provider who help veterans with claims. But if there's something else with Optum, I'm not sure of that. Uh, but yeah, your question about the VA side of that, that is a really good question to speak to the VA directly on, because that is not something that we do with anything with. Like I said, I've never heard of the Veterans Network, and I don't know why you'd be on a list for 3 years to do something
Oh,
like that.
well,
That
it's true, and we have our agency. We go back and forth constantly because we actually
uh-huh.
have two centers where we go visit veterans, and these veterans really need assistance in their home, and
Hmm.
it's taken us one of our clients, it took us a year just to get him some help. So this is really real. Maybe my question to you is in the wrong department. Maybe it needs to go somewhere else. I've talked to them several times. I end up telling them that these veterans needed help. Maybe I want to say it's been 3 months ago. So they did pull me from the list. But I'm
Okay.
still waiting to get a letter to say my agency can provide help for these veterans that really need help. So maybe this is not the time where, this meeting is maybe not where this should be discussed. But yes, I have the paperwork where we signed up and we were
Right.
told, our agency was told that they couldn't pull us off because the veterans told them they wasn't sure enough if they add another agency, if they would be able to give us clients. And I disagree with
Gotcha.
that. There's a
Gotcha.
lot of clients in Missouri that need
Oh
help,
yeah.
and we have agencies willing to help them. But here we are sitting on this
Right.
list for years. So maybe that's why I asked. I thought maybe you would know, but I'll keep searching till
Well,
I find out.
what I would do is go through the VA path. I mean, even if you have to get directly with the secretary of the VA, that might be what you might want to do. All right, because like that's a whole VA. Like the VA is a large entity, right?
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is.
So I mean, you might have to direct your question for that all the way up to as far as it'll go. As a commission person, I don't have much of information on that and why they do the things they do. I just know on our end what we do to help with many veterans as possible. I understand. I know there's a lot of veterans. I think the last check I knew about was over 400,000 veterans in the state. So there is a lot
Yes.
out there. Okay.
Yes.
So, but
So
I agree
nothing
that they
bad.
need it.
So let me clear this up. Nothing bad to them because very much there's a lot of people that need help. It
Hmm.
could be overloaded, but it's somewhere that somebody got to dig deep down and find a way to fix this to where we can help faster because there's a lot of agencies that can reach these veterans that need help. So nothing bad. I
Hmm.
just think it's a better way of working it. Okay.
Oh, I get you. I understand what you're saying, and I wish you luck. I just wish I had more for you on that.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. James, is there a connection between the VFW and your services? So, yes and no. And what I mean by that is, so the commission, we do give money to help support the VFW, at least the local Missouri VFW service officers to keep them, helping out. When I said there's like 50 service officers for the state, when you add in the American Legion, the VFW, the DAV, and several other organizations out there, they have about another 50 more service officers. So that is 100 service officers throughout the entire state for, like I said, about 400,000 veterans. So right there alone, you can see that is a large workload for every service officer that's out there. Um, so that is about where our connection with the VFW goes. I am like you. I'm a VF member myself, and I do know a lot of the people in the VFW. Uh, but that's where our connections stop, is basically helping them as much as we can, and they help us too. Don't get me wrong. They fight for uh, benefits all the time.
Don't see any other questions at the moment, but while we're waiting to see if any others come in, I did toss the link in there to the portal that Michael was talking about. And I did pull it up, so I'll go ahead and share my screen real quick. Michael, if there was anything specific you wanted to point out on here, I just wanted people to be
Yeah.
able to see it.
So if you look at the very top, for example, where I was talking about the Veteran Service Officer Locator, where it's in red there, if you were to click on that, not that you have to here, it'll top up the state of Missouri basically map, and you could just type in your county and it will tell you exactly who the service officer is in that county. Now, this is the Missouri Veterans Commission service officers. This is not necessarily the VFW, because we actually do not have that information. What I know about the VFW is a lot of times they're at the main veteran hospitals. That's where most of them are at. So I do know those locations, but the commission, we're spread out through the entire state. So that's why I this is the portal for that. So any county you're in, you can find your service officer. If you go back to the main page there, when I was talking about all the different categories, that page there shows them all right there. And what you do is, if there's a certain topic that you want to know more about or want information on, if you click any of the boxes, there's going to be like a list of different things out there that fall under that category. Like if you click on the food, it'll pop up. You'll see the American Red Cross. Now, these will always have either a phone number or an email, or both in a lot of cases, that you can contact or email for assistance. And that's why these are on there. Um, I update this site, well, I ain't gonna say all the time, but I do frequently look at it to see if there's anything that needs to come off, or if there's anything new that needs to be added. As I stated earlier, though, that what we want on this site is purely not for profit agencies or state government type of stuff. That's what this site is for. We don't want somebody, like I said, charging you uh, to use their stuff or to get something from them. That's why that's the way it is. Uh, Served by a VSO. Uh, so it depends on the location. If it's a long wait or not. Generally speaking, I mean, a lot of VSOs, you might be able to get in there within a week or so. You might have some like in St. Roberts, or actually can't be St. Roberts. They have 4 VSOs in that location alone. But if you get out to the smaller communities where you have 1 VSO, you might have like a couple of day wait or so. The best thing you can do is, when you get onto that and you look up their name and number, call them, leave a message for them. They will return your call. Um, Sometimes that might be a few days, just so you know, but that is the way to do it. But there's not necessarily a very long wait. No, there shouldn't be. When I did it as a VSO, now I'm using me. I'm not using any of our current VSOs that are out there. Generally, I was able to get people in either the same day or the very next day. But I was in Warren County, and I have served Lincoln, Gasconade, Montgomery, and part of St. Charles and Pike County. So that was my area of service. Now, when I mentioned the counties, most VSOs do not necessarily go by the county, right? They go by location as close to them as possible. We don't want you driving clear across the state to come see us. If it's a 3-hour drive, it literally makes no sense for you to drive 3 hours to come see a VSO when there's one more than likely closer to you. We don't want you using your gas money to come see us. So that's why I bring that up with the county thing. It shows you where your local VSO is. Do you have a link for the pre-qualification form for burial? Uh, VA.gov, and I'd have to remember the form number for that now, and I'm sorry, I just can't remember it. But if you go to VA.gov, there is a way to look up different forms. I would actually just call the service officer or the cemetery. They can send you uh, that form for pre-qualification. Now, what I will say about that though is, yes, it's a pre-qualification form. It does not mean that you're gonna get buried in a certain spot. It just means that you'll be buried in that cemetery. Okay, so I don't want somebody thinking that, oh, if I pick out a spot that's gonna be mine. That's not how it works. But there is that form to guarantee you burial in a veteran, state or national cemetery.
Okay, well, it's looking like there are no more questions. So thank you everybody for joining us today, and thank you, Michael, for presenting.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, have a wonderful day, everybody. We will see you next time.
See ya.